What up, nerds? My name is Leslie Smith. Welcome back to the Nerdy Narrative. It is time to talk about January's TBR 2023. I cannot believe a year has passed. It went by so quickly this year. But I'm excited because while the year may pass by quickly, my TBR grows just as quickly. Without further ado, let's jump into all of the books that I'm going to be reading this month. First of all, I will be finishing up my top 6 reads for SPSFC, which stands for Self-Published Science Fiction Competition. Team Book Invasion has been working over the last couple of months reading through our top 6 quarterfinalists to determine our top 3. I have 2 titles left to read. The first one is Echoes of Another Earth by J. Daniel Layfield. And the second one is Echogenesis by Gary Gibson. I did do a video where I discussed the top 6 and what they are about. So if you'd like more information on both of these, I will have that linked in the cards as well as the description box down below. I was lucky enough to be invited to read the arc for Helen Rye Peterson's new book coming out, which is The Briar Crown. I know nothing about this book except the one thing I needed to know to want to read it, and that is it is written by Helen Rye Peterson. If you're new around these here parts, Helen Rye Peterson wrote Waking Ursa Minor, which I read last year. Absolutely loved that one. So as soon as I saw that she had another one on the horizon, I didn't need to know anything. I wanted to read it, so I will be reading that one. I want to say it might be romance, fantasy romance. It'll be fun going in it completely blind and finding out. Next, I will be reading The Tale of the Border Knight, which is a novella from the world of Keymark by A.R. Witham. If you've read The Legend of Blackjack, you're definitely going to want to get your hands on this little novella. It is coming out in paperback and audiobook form in the month of January. But if you sign up for Andy's newsletter, then you have already received a free copy of this novella. And if you sign up now, you will receive a free copy. But you know me, I got to have a physical copy to go with The Legend of Blackjack. Now, at time of filming, I don't have my physical copy of this next one yet. It is on the way. As soon as I receive it, I will be showcasing it on the channel, and that is The White Horse. This is one I know absolutely nothing about. It is published by Spooky House Press, which is a small press that has done nothing but produce great titles by great authors. This is another case. I don't need to know anything about the author or the book. I trust the press and the choices that they have made, so I'm very excited to read and review that one. Now we can jump into the books that I do have here in physical format, beginning with Just Like Home by Sarah Gailey, which is the choice for the Wine and Crime Book Club for the month of January. I'm very excited. We read together as a group The Echo Wife by them, and I really enjoyed that one. It was one of those that the more I thought about it, the more I liked it, and it's not a story that lets you go. There was a lot of fun in the discussion that we had in the live show, just how that story could progress if you kept going into the future, and we just talked about it. Some of us continued to talk about it for a few weeks. I then shared it with one of my best friends when he came in town, and we've been chatting about it together, so I'm excited to read more by this author. And this one, I just love the cover, and I love the quote by Entertainment Weekly on the front that just says, "Get ready." I'm ready. Next off my towering TBR here, I have The Bitter Twins by Jen Williams. I will finally be continuing the Winnowing Flame trilogy. This was a gift to me by my friend Stacy, who is also the patron that the wheel chose for the month of January to pick something for me to read. So I am very excited to continue this trilogy and hopefully finish in 2023. Next is a very exciting read for me, and this is Zora Neale Hurston's Tell My Horse. Now that Evie and I have made our way through all of Zora's fictional works, we're getting started into her nonfiction works, which we've begun a little bit by reading her essay collection, You Don't Know Us Negroes and Other Essays, but we recently did a video with Bree, and so the three of us, Bree, Evie, and I, are going to be buddy reading Tell My Horse in January, and I do believe the plan is to have another either live stream or a pre-filmed video collaboration where the three of us will be discussing this one. I'll leave leave a link down in the description below to both of their channels and the video where the three of us gushed over Zora's fictional works. It was such a good time. This next one is going to happen sooner rather than later in the month of January. I am going to be continuing the Book of Thrice Dead series by Joseph Sell by reading Gods of the Black Gate. There was something that happened in the first book, which I read last month, Prince of the Wasteland, that just, I cannot get it out of my mind. It was literally one, maybe two lines, just a hint of foreshadowing of what is to come. I need to know if it's going to come in this one. I'm about to die, but let me give y'all a little close-up of this cover. Dan Soul did these covers for this series, and they are just absolutely amazing. I'm kind of wondering if I know who this is now after reading the first one. I will leave the link to the review that I did for Prince of the Wasteland down in the description box below. I don't know if the video review will be up by the time you see this one. If it's not, it is definitely coming soon, so keep your eyes peeled for that. The best way to do that is make sure you have hit that subscribe button down there. Now, this next one is an arc that I'm going to be reading. This book comes out, I want to say early February, so I'll have it read and reviewed in time for you to decide if you want to pre-order it or purchase it on release date. This is The Way of Unity by Sarah K. Baustra. Originally, this was a standalone, and it absolutely can still be read as a standalone because it was meant to originally be that way. It was written that way, but when I was speaking with the author recently, they're going to be writing a sequel called A Trail of Stars. I find that exciting that it was written meant to be a standalone, and the author's like, you know what? I have more to say here. I have more I want to do with this world. That excites me because if the author isn't letting it go, that tells me I'm not going to want to let it go either. And what is the one thing we as readers do when we read a book that we love? We want more. And so now when I read this one, I can go into it knowing if I am loving it, I can rest assured that more is on the way. So I'm very excited to be reading and reviewing this one. And next is a whole stack of rereads. 2023 is going to be the year of a rereading series for me. Something you all may not know because I've only been on BookTube a little less than 3 years is I am a serial rereader. I have series that I have read many, many times over the decades. I will continue to reread these series. That's why in 2023, you're going to see me rereading a lot of my favorite series, beginning with Jim Butcher's The Dresden Files. I am going to be rereading this series with my best friend Brian, but we're not just going to read the novels. We're going to read them in chronological order, meaning that we will be pairing everything in the Dresden universe with the novels. That includes all of the short stories and the graphic novels. The plan is to space these out a little bit each month so that there will be one book per month and perhaps a couple of short stories and or a graphic novel. It just depends on how many are in between and all of that fun stuff. And so for the month of January, we have, and I don't have the order, but we're going to be reading the short story A Fistful of Warlocks, the short story A Restoration of Faith, Welcome to the Jungle, the graphic novel, and then Stormfront. I am so very excited for this. Another huge epic reread for me is going to be the Wheel of Time series. Now this is hosted by my friend Kate over at the Literary Apothecary. She and I, along with our friends Stacy and Anitha, are going to be reading this series together. Everybody is welcome. I'll put Kate's announcement video down in the description below if you want to join her Discord and talk about these. Right now the plan is to read one book per month, and then we'll have a live show talking about that on the last Saturday of each month. For Christmas, Kate gifted me the Wheel of Time companion book, so I plan to utilize that with my reread. So I'm very excited. This is going to be an in-depth reread. I can't wait to see how I feel about this series now that I've read so many other wonderful fantasy series in the interim. And if you thought I was done talking about rereads for the month of January, you are mistaken. I have one left. I am going to be continuing my reread of Harry Potter with book 5, Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, the illustrated version. And I am so sad because this is the last illustrated book in the series currently. We've got 2 more novels that need to be illustrated. I'm not sure when we're going to get those, slow since they're changing artists. But I'm very excited to continue the series and just appreciate all of the beautiful artwork by Jim Kay, because my goodness, does it really add something to this beloved story. And y'all, that is going to do it. Those are all of the books that I am planning to read during the month of January. I do have a couple more I would like to sneak onto the TBR if I can. I don't know that's going to happen. I have quite a pile here. Like, you know, I'm starting off the year right. A huge mountain of books to read for the month, even though I keep saying, oh, I'm going to quit putting so many on my TBR. I don't do it. At least I'm consistent. Do you see any of your favorites here? Are you excited about my reread of The Wheel of Time? I will be talking about it on my channel as well. It'll be a non-spoiler review that will then go into spoilers, because this is a series that has been out forever. I have been reading it since the 90s, late 90s, 95 maybe is when I got into it, and I have been with the series ever since. I always call The Eye of the World my gateway book. That is what got me into reading and loving fantasy. So even if it doesn't stand up and compare to some of the newer fantasy series I've read, it will never lose its place in my heart as being the first fantasy love for me. Let me know in the comments down below what you're most excited to hear about in the month of January. Let me know if I'm reading any of your favorites. I hope you all are feeling refreshed and renewed and ready to start off a new year. Thank you all so much for being here. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll catch you in the next one.